So hi, hello. We
Hello.
we don't have a name for this podcast yet. So for now, we can just call it Talking with Friends.
I love that.
it was
Hey,
gaming with
episode 1 of
friends.
Talking with Friends.
Yap game? GameYAP?
GameYAP.
GameYAP's pretty powerful.
It is.
GameYAP.
It is
It
search
reminds
yourself.
me of Brain Pop.
So I thought, people may not know who we are exactly. I thought we would introduce ourselves. Maybe talk about our favorite game genre real fast, going, little friend circle here. And then maybe like the first game you ever remember playing, So like, I'm Betrigan. My favorite game genre is JRPGs, which may be surprising because I don't feel like I don't talk about them a lot, but absolutely my favorite. My first game I remember playing is either Doom or Diablo 2. They were right around the same time. I was not supposed to be playing them. I was really young, but that's what I remember playing first.
Hi, I'm Cerventes. I play a lot of games, mostly FPS. I love FPS, but I'm also a big sucker for action, character action RPG, whatever we want to call that very large circle of games. I think my oldest thing I can remember playing was like Mario 1 on the NES, because growing up I always had an NES in my house, but then I forayed into Half-Life 1 back in the day, and Counter-Strike 1.4, which that's ancient. That's a deep cut for a lot of people.
I'm TheKirbyParty. Hello. So, I tend to favor rhythm games and platformers. I actually rarely talk about that, I feel like, but those are my favorites. I'm kind of a baller at rhythm games, low key. In Fortnite Festival, I don't know if you guys know of that. It's the Guitar Hero of Fortnite. But I was number 2 in the world on the song Pump Up the Jam once upon a time. So I love rhythm games. And the first game I remember playing is Gauntlet Legends. I also love dungeon crawlers. But I do play a lot of Marvel Rivals. That is like my current obsession. So
Agreed.
RPGs, I'll play a lot. I'll play mostly anything, racing games,
Everything. Anything and everything. So,
well, not anything.
Oh, not everything. No sports.
Yeah. Well, no sports, no league, no WoW.
Oh, you gotta play a
Baldur's
hockey game. Hockey games, though. Some NHL.
There was like a hockey RPG that came out not too long ago. I don't remember what it was called.
Like air
It was a rogue.
Yes.
Hockey RPG.
Yeah,
it was an indie game.
It was pretty good. I remember. I liked it.
Do golf games count as sports games? Because I can fuck up a golf game.
Golf is a sport. It's been known to be a sport.
Oh, golf with friends and golf it? You're done. I guess I can count.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, Super Mario Strikers, probably the closest we're going to get to FIFA.
Maybe.
That was a Super
Good
Mario
game.
Soccer game on the GameCube, if you don't remember.
Yeah, there's a new one. Not too long ago, isn't there? On the Switch?
Ooh, I gotta look that one up.
I believe there is.
I've fallen off so hard.
I'm pretty sure there is. I could just be making that up, but I believe so.
I know there's they made like 5 more tennis games.
Yes.
Tennis games
Yeah, they do.
really good.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I thought you said that I said something, so I was looking to see if I was accused of a crime or not.
Yeah, you're accused of a crime.
Yeah, we accused you of murder. The cops are coming for you right now.
Among Us, we're voting you out.
And I hope that it's not, because I did hear Mario, so...
So we are here today to talk about all the game shows recently. There was a lot. There was the PlayStation Showcase, Summer Game Fest, the Xbox Showcase, the Nintendo Direct, Cerventes' favorite PC gaming showcase. There's a lot to discuss. I would like to start with the reveal, or the first reveal of Summer Game Fest, which was the new Resident Evil Veronica. Not too long ago, we got Requiem already, and they have the new one announced. It is a remake of Code Veronica, so maybe not so new, but obviously being completely remade. Do you think it is too soon for a new game, or do you think that they should go in the annual release direction?
Didn't Requiem come out within the last year?
Yeah, like February,
Like,
March,
what was
somewhere
the
around
date?
there.
Yeah,
It was only a couple months ago.
quick.
It was not that long ago.
There's only a couple months ago. I think, I mean, Capcom has a lot of teams internally that are doing a lot of different things, and of course now they're all rocking the the Resi Engine, REX, and Resi Next or whatever they're calling it. Like there's like 10 different names floating around, and obviously the engine is perfect for Resi, and we're seeing it's not so perfect with other things. That's a whole different can of worms. But it's I don't think it's too soon necessarily, especially because we don't know how long this project has been around. It's been supposed leaks going around for a couple of years, and those leaks, whether legit or not, it could be evidence that this is something that's been floating around for a while. And there's a lot of really cool little tidbits that are also in that trailer, if you pay attention to the things that the characters say and all that stuff. But that could allude to some other things, like maybe the potential of 5 not existing anymore, but I think it's cool to see some of these more niche, weird games that people may not have ever really known about getting a chance to have the all-star remake treatment that they are giving all their games now.
Absolutely. How would you feel if they took the same schedule that they're doing with Resident Evil and applied it to like some of their other franchises like Devil May Cry? If they were to reboot that and start, doing a remake of 1, going on to 6, back and forth?
I have a lot of love for Devil May Cry. 3, 4, and 5 are just they're each their own separate animal, and 5 is definitely like the peak of that genre. And that is also another just really niche team with a very niche director. I would feel very differently if they applied that. Like maybe if they started remaking the older ones, that would be really cool and can like bring them to the same quality of 5. But I think for making new entries in the series, that is a whole separate can of worms altogether, just because of how unique and special each one is. And we could say the same argument for Resident Evil, absolutely, but for how much less Devil May Cry we've seen than Resident Evil, I think there's a stronger case for maybe remakes over brand new franchise or brand new entries, just so that way when they do have a new entry, it can just be that much more monumental. Because we are definitely due for another Devil May Cry, at least like one a generation or so.
Mm-hmm.
So we're definitely due for one. And the way they left off with 5, they've left the door wide open for something absolutely insane. Whatever that insane thing is going to be, we can only hope that they'll deliver. So we're definitely far from those dark days of Devil May Cry 2.
Yeah. Or the reboot,
Well, the reboot wasn't bad. The director for 5 was saying he took a few things from DMC Devil May Cry. Because honestly, DMC Devil May Cry as its own thing was not a bad game. It was just not a good Devil May Cry. So if it was called anything else, it would have been, oh, hey, this gives a solid like 7 out of 10. Whereas because it's DMC Devil May Cry and now it's being put on that same platform and even taking direct shots at its predecessors, it's it's kind of shooting itself in the foot a little bit.
Absolutely. So you mentioned it's about time for a new Devil May Cry. There's a couple other series obviously that we have been waiting for to come back. One of those is the reveal of The Wolf Among Us 2 for the second time. How do you feel about that? Are you excited for it? It's been a while since we've seen a Telltale game, obviously.
Wolf Among Us was definitely like, when you think of like the old school Telltale stuff and the good ones, because there was plenty of stinkers. Like look at Game of Thrones.
How many Telltales are there?
There's so much.
They did.
There's ones that came before The Walking Dead, which were considered good. But then there's ones after The Walking Dead, which were hit or miss. The Walking Dead was kind of like their staple that really took them to the next level.
They did Game of Thrones. They did Jurassic Park. They did Back to the Future, Sam and Max, Walking Dead, Guardians of the Galaxy. They did Borderlands. They did a lot. They did a lot of different series.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And they got the Batman one was good. The Walking Dead, even like Walking Dead season 1, incredible. And then you go to Walking Dead season 2 and you're like, what is this? So
Kirby's about to get there.
it was very hit or miss, but The Wolf Among Us is considered by a lot of people to be like the top next to Walking Dead season 1.
I think my favorite Telltale game was Borderlands. Tales from the Borderlands.
Borderlands season 1, Tales from Borderlands season 1 was incredible, and they had an all-star voice cast for that.
I haven't played any of The Wolf Among Us. I've only played the season 1 of The Walking Dead.
That's what I thought, but you enjoyed it, right?
I just got Dispatch. Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed Walking Dead. I want to kind of play all of it at once, but on the other hand, I want to break it up. I have so much content of it. I have the entire collection, so I can stretch it,
Absolutely.
why rush it? So
stretch it as long as you can. Just take as much time before you get to 2. Maybe you'll forget about 2 before you get to
it. That's the first time I've really heard anything negative about the game in my life. So I'm actually more interested to get to 2 because I'm curious about why you might think that way. And maybe we can talk about it in a later episode.
Yeah, once you get to it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so Wolf Among Us 2 coming out. Pretty exciting. What else do we got to go over here? Summer Game Fest.
You made a note for the last Ronin game,
yes,
which there's a lot we can say about this one as well.
Yeah, it was announced a couple years ago, and we kind of heard nothing until Summer Game Fest, right, where it was shown off again.
So the lead up to Summer Game Fest, Jeff Keighley was actually tweeting about Paramount Games being announced, which that's obviously the new first-party publishing house for Paramount Studios, who owns, they own all the Nickelodeon franchises and a lot of things like that. Obviously a very big name. And so under that umbrella is Ninja Turtles. So when they said Paramount Games and they were going to be announcing their first publishing project, no one really knows what's going to be happening. So then they drop. We get the trailer. No one knows what it is. It's clearly Ninja Turtles. But then it drops the darkest thing that in the entire continuity of Ninja Turtles being The Last Ronin, and then they splash just the mark of potential good, potential bad, Platinum Games.
Yeah, Platinum Games definitely a mix. Obviously they have the good ones like Bayonetta and stuff like that, and then they have the not so great titles. But I think they were more split up among multiple teams, and I believe with this new one they said that they are trying to take just like one project at a time now, so I don't think we'll see that experience again.
Modern Platinum Games is in a weird place because a lot of their heavy hitters have left to reform Grasshopper, which Grasshopper was the original studio behind Okami. When they left Grasshopper, they formed Platinum Games, and now Hideki Kamiya, the mind behind characters like Bayonetta and behind Okami, have split off, going back to form Grasshopper. Unfortunately, Platinum has been in a bad rut recently with a lot of games, like Fall of Babylon, the Square Enix live service game that just was a tremendous failure. But again, Platinum has a massive catalog of hits. For as many misses as they've had, they definitely have hits. They have also been relegated to keep them afloat. They have been acting as a support studio for a lot of much bigger projects. So there's a lot of projects that you may have seen Platinum Games tied to, but they were not the main people. They were just doing things like assets. So there's a big mixed bag, and you really need if you want to really analyze what Platinum Games has done, you really got to kind of put things under a microscope sometimes. Because even if you look at something like Nier Automata, which is considered a masterclass of character action RPG, Platinum is on that, but so is another studio, and Platinum was more or less doing major support rather than direct hand in development.
They did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles before. Some people liked it. I personally was not a fan. I don't think they're going to really do that same thing, because that was more like an online 4-player thing. Obviously, that
was an online 4-player one, and you had all the turtles were active at the same time, something like that. Yeah. And that game, Speed ran getting delisted from all online platforms really quickly. Yeah, you happen to remember the name of that one off the top of your head?
I don't remember it now.
I remember you dropped it like last week. I don't remember it. I want to say Shredder's Revenge. I know that's completely wrong.
Yeah, I don't think that's correct.
Some of the people that do the good brawlers.
Yeah, the beat 'em up. Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, I do remember. I got that game excited because they did a Transformers one either or sometime around that same time, and I was like, oh,
like Fall of Cybertron or something like that.
I don't believe so, but close. But no, it was good. It was really good. So then I got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one. I was like, oh, this is not so good. But obviously, it's not going to be the same thing this situation because you have one turtle versus the four that they tried forcing onto it at the same time.
Yeah, I think for this game, we're definitely going to see. We have a greater. Well, we can't say definitively what we're going to see and not see because again, this is now modern, new age Platinum Games. All of their legendary staff are gone, so this is kind of going to be the. This might be potentially a make it or break it for modern Platinum Games, but we could potentially see a return to form with the potential because the last Ronin, it is a Ninja Turtle that's not beheld to like a singular archetype. Because if anyone knows the history, like the deal with what the last Ronin is, it is one Ninja Turtle with every archetype available.
Mhm.
So we could potentially see something really cool here. We could potentially see something similar to Nier Automata. The sky is absolutely the limit for what this is going to end up looking like.
Yeah, I grew up watching the live action movies actually.
Okay.
I I loved them. I had the DVDs, my brother and I watched them all the time. I didn't really get too into them. I was huge into the Mario Brothers. That's why I mentioned them earlier. Like, so the Nintendo Direct is what I was most looking for,
Okay.
and we'll talk more about that
I was gonna say, yeah,
later.
we'll get to it very
Yeah.
shortly. Um,
But I actually had no idea that the last Ronin was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
oh, really?
So yeah, so I used to walk past I go to our Barnes and Noble a
Mm-hmm.
lot, and I walk past the comic section
Mm-hmm.
and see the comics for it. And I always was like, oh, samurai, like cool. I had no idea that the connection.
Yeah, so it takes place several years in the future, and all of the turtles have perished besides one, which is spoiler alert revealed to be Michelangelo.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're about to drop a spoiler, dude.
Spoiler alert.
It's
Pause for
okay.
them.
It's
For the
totally okay.
longest time, you're intended to not know, apparently. So it's like, oh,
I think
okay.
you find out pretty. I think you find out in the first issue. Do you not?
I genuinely don't know. I just go off of what the vibes on the internet told me.
No, because I read it, and I think it's literally at the end of the first issue is the reveal. You don't know obviously the entire first issue, and then you're trying to figure out which one it is, and that is kind of the bomb drop at the end of the first issue. Is Mikey, because he's more serious, and everyone's like, oh, not the funny
Yeah,
one.
born to be silly, forced to lock in.
Yeah. But speaking of Platinum Games and character actions, let's jump over to the state of play real fast to kind of sit on this train of thought. The new God of War was announced, obviously being a character action, and some people are upset that it is not based off Kratos this time. Personally, just going into it real fast, I think it looks great. I think the combat looks really smooth. I'm excited that's not sticking to one pantheon, too. I'm glad it's kind of branching out more, and that we're going to be able to see more of that world, and maybe some, pantheons that have already perished, or gods that maybe we've seen in the past, kind of play into it. I'm excited to see where that story goes, where it ends up, and I think it is awesome for a spinoff. Very excited to see more of that universe, and not just have it be locked down to one character. I don't see why that would be a big deal for any other franchise if something else did it,
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Speaking as someone who's never played a God of War game, I was kind of like, yo, maybe, pretty lady. And I'm not someone who, I'm not someone who actively is like, ew, it's a man. I would never play that game. Which is why I have not played a God of War game. That's not why. But it did make me more inclined to look into God of War. I've never heard anything negative about the games, but it made me more inclined to look into it. And I don't know if people should that and be like, oh wow, more people to be in the fandom and be glad, instead of angry, or the mindset. I'm not sure why people are so angry.
So, I mean, yeah, Deborah Ann Wall being the main character, she's a phenomenal actress. So, really cool to see her in video games now. Really cool. And then obviously we also got Jack Quaid. Put Jack Quaid in more things. He's definitely earned his spot in fame. just being quirky, weird guy. And even, there's a lot you could take away from that trailer, but it just the combat looks really cool. Double jumping right off rip, the expanded pantheons. I think throughout the entirety of God of War, in like almost every entry, at least every mainline entry, they have teased the idea that, you know, at the end Kratos might die, and especially in this new rebooted version of God of War, right away at the end of the first one, we're getting a tease that Kratos might die in one of these other games.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that it always has to be Kratos, it seems like a little bit of a stretch. Like and yeah, to that point, it doesn't always have to be Kratos, and we can have a game about, you know, his son, about Atreus the entire time. And we do have spin-offs where we're seeing Kratos' brother and things like that. So I think the fact that this is also not a mainline numbered God of War, like this is not God of War 3. Granted, I mean, God of War Ragnarok was God of War 2, and it wasn't called God of War 2, but it's very clearly being established as a spin-off and not a mainline. But who knows? I could just be, someone can come around at any point. Like, oh no, this is the next mainline one.
You know,
Right. So going backwards, you mentioned Kratos may die. So Kratos obviously has died multiple times in the series, and has always come back through the underworld or whatever. Now, obviously, Frey is kind of in the underworld there. It seems like it's more a general mythology underworld than rather the kind of like Hades that we dealt with before in the Greek series. So even if Kratos did die, you know, maybe he ends up in that same area that she is. I don't see that being out of the possibility. You know, they're introducing this for a reason. Obviously, something is going to happen there to open up the universe or explore, you know, more of it in a way that we don't necessarily need to see Kratos deal with.
Well, even in the trailer, we are seeing the ghost of Kratos, or some form of Kratos, offering aid to Frey. So it's not like this game will be completely absent of Kratos. We're going to be seeing the trailer. I think this gameplay segment, because this was raw 20 minutes of very clearly what is going to be the intro of the game, at least in its current state, because that's up to, it can be changed a billion times over by the time the game's actually launched. It's making it very clear Kratos will be in here to some degree, potentially throughout the entire adventure.
I think that they're going to use that to more go through their past together, because obviously we never saw, you know, how they met. She obviously had that legendary fight with Thor at some point in the lore. So I think they're using that more, not necessarily aid, but more that she is kind of slipping into the past or having some kind of connection there to kind of be able to tell her past story, but also where is her next part of the journey. And the devs have also said that the cover art tells a lot more to the story than we think. And obviously there's a couple little areas on the cover there. And one of them, though, in the background is a single bolt of lightning, like raining down, which to me means, okay, maybe we see that Thor fight that they really, you know, hyped up as like this big epic fight. So I think maybe we go into the past, and that's more of what the Kratos thing is there for. There is another thing to that trailer that people are questioning, and one of them is connecting it to more like Arthurian legend, because of the sword that was in the block of water, and a lot of people think that is more like the lady in the lake with Excalibur, you know, kind of thing. Do you think that they may be going completely like in a different way with mythology and going more down that route?
I had heard from a different place that people had soft confirmed that was like this mythological Chinese god slaying sword.
That could be,
because like the ribbon tied to it is right. People who obviously know that mythology identified that. Because like we already see, we're seeing an Egyptian god, we're seeing a Tibetan war god, so we're seeing there's a lot going on. And again, we know that in the world that there's all the pantheons are there. Right. When Kratos nuked Olympus, he just kept walking and eventually ended up in Norseland.
right. I don't think it's out of the realm of
everything
saying,
could be there.
Right. I don't think it's out of the realm necessarily to say that maybe what we're seeing, like, you know, something could be the same thing in different mythologies either. Obviously, in real life, there's mythologies that are similar in ways and got from, you know, they're legends from one another.
Well, in the trailer, they do bring attention to what that sword is. To the point where they even say to Faye, like, do you know what this sword is? And she says, yeah. And it's like, oh, okay. So
yeah.
Clearly that's a thing. So the people that know the Chinese mythology are going like, oh, I know. Oh, doing the Leo point at the TV.
Right. Yeah, that absolutely. Where do we go from here? So speaking of God of War, obviously that was a big reveal at the end of the State of Play. Starting off, kind of the only other thing to really, I mean, there's other things to talk about, but the other major thing to talk about there was the new Wolverine trailer. We saw a lot of gameplay for the first time. Obviously, there was those leaks years ago that showed a lot more. I
can't wait.
Yes, very excited. I love the Spider-Man games. I think that what they do is great. I know some people may not be the biggest fan, but I love the world that they're kind of building out there. And obviously, the leaks, you know, did hint that they were possibly going in an X-Men direction, which we did see Jean Grey there. My question is she playable? Obviously, in the leaks, she was playable. There is builds out there where she is. But Insomniac has recently said she is not at all, and you play as Wolverine all the way through. Do you think that they are just lying and that we are going to be able to play as Jean? Or do you think they just kind of changed maybe her story or her fights didn't necessarily fit in?
I think the possibility is there because we do see, like, in the Spider-Man games, we have limited gameplay segments as Mary Jane. So the floor is definitely open to have, you know, more maybe a limited
maybe
mission.
just like a tag in type situation.
Also, just quick side tangent on that one. Was she voiced by Laura Bailey? Because as Rivals players, we are going to be very confused as to why Jean Grey sounds like Black Widow.
It's possible. I would have to go back and listen to it.
It sounded like Laura Bailey in like the two lines that she said in the trailer, but it's, I mean, who knows? We'd have to look at it under a microscope.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'd have to go back and listen to that. It looked good though. Looked very good. It looked very graphic, kind of like, you know, what you would expect from Wolverine tearing through people. I liked how the healing worked. I like that this suit kind of healed up too and cleaned off, you know, like I know some people may not be a fan, but I think that is kind of important for the game to have. Obviously there are limits to video games. You can't just have him destroyed the whole time running around, you know, building up over 6-10 hours, whatever, how long the game is, building up damage the entire time, you know. Okay, so going backwards now, back to the Summer Game
Well,
Fest.
actually, if we want to quickly stay on some character action stuff, because I'm the only psychopath that watches PC Game Show, we did get to see an extra gameplay showcase for Control Resonance.
Okay.
There was an extended gameplay showcase there, and it looks like they're taking, you know, everything from Control. I don't know if you guys have played Control or not, which phenomenal game. I mean, Remedy hits it out of the park every time with like these just grand designs, and they're taking all of that and kind of God of Warring it a little bit with how the gameplay flow is. And so it's not necessarily like some people are like, oh, is this a Dark Souls? But no, it's more of a God of War where you can have multiple weapons you can pick from and different move sets tied to each one, and it's going to look like a pretty arcadey fun time just set in this universe.
Yeah, Control, when it came out, I was really blown away with it. I love the art, you know, kind of how it felt like. It was more like kind of a little more thriller. SCPs.
Oh,
SCPs. Yeah.
SCP.
Yes. So obviously,
that is another word for cryptids.
I love SCP.
Yeah. So Control is obviously based very heavily off SCPs, kind of, you know, not necessarily, but very much in that kind of wheelhouse. I love it. I think it was really cool. There was some really cool like lore entries you could find in Control. There was a lot of like side missions that really like, they were all very different. It kind of really set up this nice universe. I'm very excited for 2. 1 obviously was more heavy on the guns and weaponry. 2 seems a lot more melee based. But I'm excited to get back to that.
It's going to be a God of War action style game, and
way more melee.
The world's going to be way bigger. And there was one other thing, and this one blows my mind every time they've shown us something for this. Which this was mentioned in one of the other game shows, I believe, but PC game show ended up somehow being the ones to get the newest character action RPG, whatever we feel like calling it, from a little company called Game Freak. You may be familiar with Game Freak,
Beast of Reincarnation.
The people that brought us Pokemon Red and Blue, Beast of Reincarnation, and we saw extended gameplay as well as the interview with the devs. And this could actually be worth looking into for anyone who missed this, because we got to see some of the gameplay where we're seeing a lot of Sekiro style parrying. We're seeing multiple weapons, but then we're also seeing you have a pet, and you can actually open up submenus in the middle of combat to open Pokemon style combat in the middle of the game. Game Freak is no stranger to making games that aren't Pokemon. If you look at Steam right now and look up Tembo the Badass Elephant, there is they have other games that aren't Pokemon, but this game is shaping up to look really interesting, really cool, really fast. And I know it's a day one for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everything I've seen looks really good. I really hope it is successful. Obviously, there are other games that they have tried to branch out to don't really do as well or well at all. But I have seen some buzz about it, so I really do hope it's going to kind of make a splash.
And it's definitely really early for it as well. All the trailers that they've shown, the frame rate's really choppy, and that's usually the first sign of we have something to show, but it's far.
Okay, going backwards for a minute, back to the Summer Game Fest. We saw the new trailer for Stranger Than Heaven, and at the end they showed off Tupac. Obviously, some people felt that was controversial, using somebody's image in that way. The family, I do want to say real quick, the family has approved it. They said they are good with it. There is no problems there. They signed off on it. But how do you feel about games possibly using people who are no longer around?
I've listened to a 15-minute discussion on this topic, and it's really funny to me because it's up in the air if it was really the family or if a guy that just happens to own the rights to the estate, which is not actually a member of the family. Because I guess the last person from the family, I don't know. I'm going off of what I was hearing in this interview. I guess maybe the last person in the family just recently died, and now it's this guy. So part of it, there's also Snoop Dogg involved. Now, yeah, you can find names if you look into it.
That's juicy, though.
But they wheeled out Snoop Dogg to try to kind of as a way of he's okay with it, but at the same time, Snoop Dogg is okay with anything as long as you hit him money.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many things has Snoop Dogg just done because it was a paycheck?
Yep.
So Snoop Dogg might not be the best moral compass.
That's very interesting.
These kinds of topics.
I had heard
Snoop
people
Dogg, we got Tupac. Stranger Than Heaven is going to be the weirdest Yakuza prequel ever. I'm
really excited for it because I love the Yakuza games. But obviously I see why that is controversial. I had heard that their family signed off and it was all good to go. But you saying that is very interesting. That adds a lot of juiciness to it. That is very, very.
It changes the entire lens.
Literally
almost.
Changes everything about that. That is very interesting.
I think ultimately, for all we know, this Tupac edition, Tupac might just be a random side character that you see for 5 seconds, or maybe he's gonna be your buddy the whole time.
I was gonna say you don't.
They're oh man, this is really crazy. We got to go take down the Tojo clan. What do you think, Tupac?
Watch him. He's gonna be the guy that you have to go to manually save or change your outfit and stuff. Hey, welcome back.
So we're gonna put Tupac in the clown wig and the clown.
Yeah, I was gonna say there used to be a clown you would go and get stuff from. Yeah, that adds so much to it.
For all we know, it's gonna have zero impact on the entire game, and this is just some weird attempt at a marketing thing.
I feel like they're gonna use him for some kind of story thing, and I feel like it's not gonna be that small. Maybe he's just the guy you go and get weapons from or something, something like that. I don't know.
Other Yakuza games have done things where they got wrestlers from New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Right. Yep.
And those characters, while granted, you can have crazy fights against them, they end up just being side pieces in a tertiary mode that you may never experience more than once. So for all we know, that could be the inclusion. We've seen the Yakuza people do all kinds of crazy things with celebrities. So there's no real telling until we get more hands-on, because we still haven't ultimately seen a lot of what is going to be happening in this game. And the bits that we've seen have just all made us kind of say, what?
So another little controversial thing was Stellar Blade Blood Rain. The main character, some people say looks a little young and is a little odd. How do you feel about that?
I think she's really cute. I will admit I did say, "Who is this child?" when she appeared on my screen. But the more I watch it, I don't know. I think she's really cute, and I've seen the face model that she's based off of.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone with a young face myself, I don't know. I kind of rock with it. I like her.
I think it looked good.
I
I think it looked really smooth. Very fast gameplay. I haven't played the first Stellar Blade. It has been on my list, so maybe down the road before 2 comes out, I'll play it. But I think it looked really good, like combat wise. Looked crazy fast.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the same boat where like when the child was there, and of course, like, I mean, this looks like Stellar Blade, but then you see the child, and then I'm kind of like, get this off my screen. But once the combat started and we saw the crazy melee and how punch focused it was, I suddenly became really on board. And like Kirby said, she showed us the actual face model, and it's like, these are not the same person.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I had the same conversation with a few other people, and then I showed them that same picture, and they're like, wait, this makes it okay.
You earlier, Kirby, when we started, had mentioned that you were into platformers. We saw the new Rayman Legends, well, not really new, but retold, the remake, switching from 2D to 3D, obviously looking, it looks good. Lots of new levels that we saw, a new villain. It looks like it's going to be pretty different for a remake, which we don't really see too often. But the switch from 2D to 3D, I feel like makes it lose some of its charm. It lost some of its style that way. You can tell in the background, and obviously the more 2D artistic style than 3D, and kind of going for more realism. How do you feel about that?
I will admit, I did not play the original, so I just saw this game as like a fresh game to me almost. I thought it looked really fun. I don't really have the I'm Googling actually the original so that I can compare. But I thought the game looked really fun. I like platformers, and I like 3D platformers a lot. However, I've never beat Super Mario 64. Just a fun aside. It was way too hard for me. But yeah, I thought it looked fun.
No,
It's interesting that you said it kind of takes away some of the charm, though. Can you elaborate on that a little?
Yeah, so like obviously with the more 2D style, everything looked more like hand drawn. The 3D, it looks like it goes for a little more realism.
I mean, to me, the original version is kind of closer to, it's almost closer to like Saturday morning cartoons.
So you can kind of see here, obviously this is more like the 2D style, and this is more like the 3D.
I see.
Yeah, so like, or something like this, you can kind of see it kind of like, obviously the remake is a lot more almost got a realistic side to it, and the original is kind of more, it's more artistic, it's got a little more.
Yeah. It had the Disney facelift.
Yeah, exactly. So I know some people were like, oh, it lost all of its charm that way.
I feel like we haven't seen enough to really make that decision of this has lost all its charm. I know some of the character designs that we did see, a lot of people are asserting issue with that. I think as a game, we're seeing that it is mostly it's going to play the same. You're still doing this platforming, side-scrolling craziness, and it is going to be a very high-octane, very crazy game, because if it's a remake, we don't know how much they're adjusting, though. We don't know how much they're remixing. Are the levels going to be completely flipped around, or are they going to play one-to-one the exact same? Can I go practice Rayman Legends right now, pick up the new HD remake, the new remake, and just zoom through it in the exact same manner? I don't know. That's the part that they've not clarified on, is just how much is changing, other than like some character design here and there, and just like new models, new textures, new engine, new everything. Because this is Ubisoft. They try to align everything into their, Snowdrop or Snowflake or something like that engine. they're trying to align everything into the same engine there. So
Mhm.
I guess we'll have to see just how much of that really is, different or the same.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, the original was really good. I still think it looks good. I'm not, saying it doesn't look good. I do see the art change, obviously. I do see a completely different style there, but it is a remake. It is a complete remake. There's a new villain, there's a new story, there's new levels. So I think we can't really judge until we actually do play it when it does come out. But I'm glad that they're keeping like the co-op there. It was really fun to just pick up with friends and kind of dive into there. And there was a lot there to kind of have in the game. So very excited to see that back. Speaking of the return of Rayman, obviously a big mascot, big, character that people have been wanting more of for a long time. We finally got the reveal of a new Spyro the Dragon game.
How'd I know you were about to say that?
Yes, yes. Very big. So little quick history here. When I grew up, I had the Nintendo 64. My friend across the street had the PlayStation 1. I would always go over there to play the Spyro games. I don't know why. Like, just very fun game, very easy to pick up. It was very addicting. Like, I wanted to go back and I wanted to complete them all. I wanted to get everything in them, 100% of them. That was the first kind of experience I had where I was like, I want to do everything possible in this game. I'm very excited for the new one. I think it looks very great artistically. I think like the style is perfect. It looks very obviously Spyro-ish.
Yes, you can recognize that it's Spyro.
You can recognize it's a
How
purple dragon.
disappointed
Years.
how disappointed have you been for the last 10, 15 years where we had Skylander Spyro looking like an absolute woo?
So I actually really like
that?
Skylanders. I remember when Skylanders came out, people were like, "Oh, I have to buy so much of this stuff." And I played with one of my close
design
friends.
Specifically,
Spyro, it's whatever. They're always gonna try and reinvent characters and give them some kind of new twist. I was fine with it. Skylanders was fun.
Show. They put him in a TV show also, and it was weird.
As long as the game is fun, I'm okay with it. And Skylanders was fun. It was very enjoyable all the way through to me. So that is the top priority for me is the game fun. And it was Skylanders was very much fun. I don't know if I would want to see them do kind of the same style, but maybe something with like the Skylanders name. I don't know if I would want to see the return of Toys to Life or whatever it was. I don't know if I want to see that return, but
it really begs the question with the new Spyro game, though, like, what are the mechanics going to look like? Because if you remember, Spyro 1 just had, like, the basic mechanics, but then they introduced swimming in the second. And I actually really struggled with the second because of that addition. So I'm curious about if they'll still have that, quote-unquote, more complex mechanic, or if they'll go back to the root of being a basic platformer with it since it's been so long.
I would assume they're going to continue evolving on that. Like it's the same team that did Crash 4, and obviously they took everything from the original Crash Bandicoot games after they remastered it, and they kind of took that and added brand new mechanics with the masks and stuff like that kind of completely changed gameplay. So I assume we're probably going to see something like that with the new Spyro. Some kind of mechanic they invent for that game that is going to take it to the next level.
Yeah, the trailer looked pretty cool.
To Kirby's point, like those older games, they did vary in quality as well, and evolving because a lot of people, like Kirby's not the first person I've ever heard say, "Oh, I have a difference in like 1 to 2, like it's not as good," and then like 3's this or that. So yeah, obviously those natural evolutions. Like back then, it was kind of no man's land of we're going to try something completely new, and that's how you end up going from DMC 1 to DMC 2. So it's it's a lot of stuff like that.
I'm nervous. Like I'm excited because I loved Spyro. I grew up like I had low-key kind of a crush on the dragon. But whatever.
Banjo-Kazooie fans are rolling in their graves right now.
That'll probably be nice. They're doing a lot of these like old remakes or series coming back, or like getting new developers on series. I'm not surprised if we see Banjo in the next couple of years, or sooner than that. Spyro, I love the original 3. When it came to the PS2, I still got them, but they weren't as great. Same with like kind of like the Crash games. Obviously, they didn't have the original devs on those new games.
Do you have the HD collection?
Yeah, absolutely.
The modern port. Yeah. I mean, they run great. To me, as long as a port runs great, it plays like how it's supposed to play. I see no issue with that, and it's the games, they're there, so go play 'em.
Speaking of, this is going to be super off tangent here, but and not really a new game, but Jack and Dexter. You mentioned how games evolve so much. The first one was such a basic platformer, and I still go back and I play the first one over and over again. And then when you get to 2 and 3, you get like heavier into like guns and stuff like that, and like they're still good games, but like,
well, like
sometimes I just prefer the simplicity of one.
Dude, you just ripped my brain open because Jack 2 is so phenomenal. And I actually I played Jack 3 in its entirety before I played Jack 2.
Mm-hmm.
Jack 2 is so incredible in scope. And 3 tries to just expand that scope so hard, but just misses the point on almost every level. Where you go back to 2 and like going from 3 to 2, I was like, why is 2 so much better? Even back then, I was like, this is such a stronger game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for one I'll replay because it's just so simple. I can just pick up and I can play. I don't really have to use my brain too much. 2 was a lot more. Not that 2 is bad. Like I love 2. You know, I like
heavy
3 also
for a kid's game.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You're going from like Sesame Street to
GTA
to Silent Hill.
Yeah.
It's a great level right off the bat. They just hit you with just some heavy stuff for a kid's game, and it's like,
oh yeah, story wise, yeah,
characters,
yeah. Yeah, and then they kind of they got really having to like time travel and stuff like that. Like Jack is a crazy series. I'd like to see that eventually remade because I do think like some of those PS2 platformers do need to be remade. I know like everybody wants a new Jack and Dexter. I don't know where they go with it. I would like to see complete remakes first. I would like to see it brought to what a modern game would look like. We can do remasters all day, but it's not going to be the same of what could be done with the older games. Then speaking of remasters, we got the look of one of my favorite games of all time. I think literally top 5 games in my entire history that I love. Persona 4 Revival. I think it looks great. It is one of my favorite stories of all time. If you don't know, if you haven't played Persona 4, it is about a TV, basically on rainy nights. It turns on, it shows someone on the screen, and the legend is that it is your soulmate. The reality is that who appears on that TV ends up dying. And of course, you, as a group of high schoolers, are the only ones that can stop these murders from happening. And I love it. I love 4. I love the mystery of it. I love where it ends up going character-wise, where it goes, you know, who the culprit is, all that. I think it looked amazing.
P4 is still considered the best one for how phenomenal and over the top 5 was and how many times it's been redone to death, along with 3 and 5 are still phenomenal games. They have a phenomenal voice cast behind them and just crazy levels of production and over the topness. But 4, just from everything from the music, the combat, the characters, the story, it's just so much more compelling than those other 2. So 4 is absolutely worth a look, even if it's just go watch. If you don't have the 200 hours to go play it, I know that's an exaggeration, but go watch the anime, because the anime does a very terrific job of encapsulating the entire game into a compelling series. So there's that, because just experience that story, like Betrigan saying, it's a phenomenal story, and they, even for the anime, they got most of the voice cast back. Now for this remake, I couldn't really tell. Yeah, nobody's back. That's a voice, but that's a problem with that kind of a voice cast, because who did they have back then? They had Troy Baker.
Yeah,
what's he doing now? He's larger than life. They get Yuri Lowenthal. Yuri Lowenthal just hit gold with being Spider-Man. They had Johnny Young Bosch as 2 very critical characters, one being the protagonist, and that's good luck getting him to come back also. So
I think so, like, obviously they are bigger now. I think that we also kind of treat voice casts different, where they can be replaced. Like over in Japan, they're using the same voice actors. Like it doesn't matter what they've been in, you know, like they are bringing everybody back. Everybody is the same voice. And then we get over here, and
mask in your back shelf also.
I do have a Joker mask back there. There's also Morgana somewhere over there, and Morgana's next to Joker mask, and then the sheep from Catherine which is another Atlas game. I do have those
You
on
love
my
Atlas.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, so obviously Japan, they keep the same voice actors. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old they are, what else they've done. And I feel like over here we kind of treat it very differently, where we do just replace voice actors. Like it doesn't matter if it's the same game, a remaster. Like they also replace likenesses. Like they replaced obviously the model for like Spider-Man at one point. I think we treat things a little more throwaway than they do.
In one of the remakes for P4, they did early on already have to replace Troy Baker. So Troy Baker was already recast once because Troy Baker was only in the original PS2 version. So in the HD remake after that, when they had to re-record his lines, they had to get a new stand-in. When they did Golden and had to redo his lines, they had to get a brand new voice actor for Kanji because Troy Baker was doing other projects. He was moved on to Final Fantasy 13 at that point and was working his way through that. So it's crazy that we already see that. And like you said, in Japan, it is a different culture. We see all the time with every piece of media. It's almost like the voice actors in Japan take it more to heart. Like they are this character because we see them doing all the various stage plays and big time interviews. Like we see whole theaters get sold out because a video game cast is doing something. Like a 5-year-old video game cast or a 5-year-old anime cast is doing something. So those people take it way more to heart than American voice actors seem to. And granted, like no one's ever ashamed of their work. All voice actors are usually fairly proud of their work and like will wear that badge to the end of time. But it's crazy, like you're saying, the likenesses and voices just get constantly. And even some of that soundtrack sounded really different.
Yeah. Oh, they're absolutely remixed.
The P4 soundtrack is so good on its own.
Yeah, no, they'll absolutely remix it. They'll add whatever to it. They'll change it up.
Everything that I have learned about a Persona game, I have learned against my will. And everything that I have learned about a Persona game makes me think that the game is about something completely different. So,
what do you think the game is about?
I wish that I had my camera on so you could have just seen my face. Like I don't even know how to. So whenever I think of Persona, I'm just gonna tell you the images that pop into my head, like charades. Okay. I hear Persona and I think of like classrooms and scandals and sex for some reason, but also maybe
Debatable.
murder.
You're checking all the correct boxes.
Yeah, and like really weird character line. Like I don't know. It just seems like I don't know. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's all valid.
You just perfectly described scenario 1 from P5. P5 peaks at scenario 1, and then everything out of that falls off so hard.
1 out of how many? If 1 is where it peaks.
I don't know, like 8,
so
9?
Yeah, so the Persona games are divided up into different like almost scenarios where you kind of meet a character at a time and what they're going through and you have to help them through it. Persona 5, the first character you meet is being abused by their teacher who is sexually gym teacher who is sexually abusing the women and then physically abusing the men. And you have to basically expose him and you get
him to expose himself.
You get him to expose himself.
The whole P5 loop is you're going through the character's dungeon to have them have a change of heart and turn themselves in.
What was that? Sorry.
Do all the Persona games kind of like go together?
No, they are all separate. I mean, there's a little bits here and there that you may see hinted at, throughout them, but no, they are completely different cast. Their own stories, their own things. Yeah. They all have their kind of own themes.
They all have to do with the Arcana is a big theme in it. You always go back to like this centralized location referred to as the Velvet Room, but every representation of it is different depending on what the character who the character is. Like in P4, the Velvet Room, you're always in a car. In P3, you're always in. Is that the elevator? Yeah, P3 you're always in an elevator.
Prison.
And P5,
3 is elevator.
P5,
for 5 is prison.
in P5 you're in an elevator. And then like there's always a helper that's with the main. It's always the same main caretaker of a room, but they have a different helper.
Yeah, I recommend trying out a Persona game if you can, Kirby, because you generalized it, but that is not like what they necessarily are. You are getting very generalized. Deeper. Yeah, it's a lot deeper than that. You're getting very generalized statements on the game.
I mean, it's almost like 5 games.
Yeah.
Is it one of those things where, like, if I wasn't there when it came out, I wouldn't appreciate it?
No.
Do you remember how I felt about Life is Strange?
Yeah.
I don't want a repeat of that.
No, I kind of feel that way about Life is Strange too. Even when it did come out, like I was like, oh, this is a really good game. I enjoy it, but it was overrated, and I still think it is a little overrated. Like, it's not bad at all. I'm not saying that, but it is not like this masterpiece people think it is. I think it's just more that that's kind of the first game they kind of experienced like that. Persona definitely holds up. It's you're gonna get into the music, you'll get into the characters, the world. Besides, obviously, there's like the RPG dungeon crawling part of it where you're beating up monsters and leveling up and, you know, stuff like that. But then there's also the social aspect kind of that you mentioned where you're going to school, you're going around town, you're taking part-time jobs. And it's like, that may sound boring, but it is not. Like, you'll see it's very addicting wanting to get back to that when you play.
It's a life sim. It's a time management sim. It's a dungeon crawler with the JRPG elements. Like it's not entirely a JRPG. A lot of people will show you the JRPG elements, but there's also a lot of visual story aspects to it, or visual novel, whatever we're calling it. And so you're getting like 5 games in one, and you dictate how your time is spent on that game in that adventure. Because each day you have all these different options of things to do. It's like, do you want to go play the social sim, or do you want to go play the dungeon sim?
Do you want to get a part-time job? Do you want to go on a date with somebody? Do you want to go play baseball? Like, you have options to choose each day, and you kind of have to navigate that. It's basically a Japan life simulator, basically. Like, you know, that's what it is. But along with
Japanese guys love going to the dungeon.
Along with obviously Persona 4 Revival, we did see the first teaser for 6. Some people say it looks darker. I don't necessarily think so. The first teaser for 4 was obviously the TV, which could give a little more dark thematic, you know, to it. The first teaser for 5 was the chains attached to the school chairs. I think those are darker themes too, and I don't think what we necessarily saw with 6 in that teaser makes it seem like the entire story is going to be darker. I think we're kind of...
It does confirm green. It confirms green.
It does confirm green. But for me, it looked like we saw like the hand pointing the red finger. That makes me think that we are going to get more of a story of like rumors, you know, like being like, oh, that person did this, or, you know, stuff like that, and kind of having to confront that. Kind of like what we saw with 5, with obviously these people being shady and stuff and learning that. But I think it's going to be the opposite, where you're accused of something that isn't true and maybe having to show that obviously that is not, you know, that's false, that's not true. So I think it's gonna be a lot more like rumors about specific people, and you have to go be like, hey, get to the bottom of, you know, like be like, that is not who they are, kind of thing. I think it's going to be kind of like the flip of 5, what we saw with 5.
I mean, yeah, in 5, your character was accused of something, and that's why you get sent away. And 4, it's just your summer. It's you're spending a year abroad.
Yeah.
In 3, you're spending a year at like a boarding school.
So all the Persona games, obviously, the main character comes into town and they are new there. Right. They're a stranger there. They're meeting all these characters. That's why they're not really wrapped up into it. I think it would be really funny if we saw 6 and it was like the opposite, where you're the one that's normally there, and like the whole cast comes in one by one, just moves into town. I think that would be funny.
Look forward to the reveal trailer where they show us a UI and very basic gameplay elements. Because when they did the first actual gameplay reveal for 5, they didn't really show as much gameplay as much as they were showing UI elements, and that was their flex. Like, your franchise is so legendary that rather than just showing you gameplay where it's the same monsters for the most part that we've been using in every Shin Megami Tensei game, it's here's what the UI looks like. Yeah, and I think that's phenomenal.
Absolutely. Kat, I want to go into a tangent about the UI, but I'm gonna try and get
We
through
can
some of
have
these
this-
last topics here.
Yeah,
We'll do that another time.
It was a crazy
Holding
tangent.
yourself
I could
back
go
like
to
that
5,
Jeff
but
meme.
Yeah. So obviously Persona, big JRPG. We saw 4 and 6. There was another JRPG that we saw at the Nintendo Direct that people have been waiting for a long time, and that is Kingdom Hearts 4. We finally saw new news on it. After they showed all the other trailers there, they showed 4, and I was like, as soon as the footage started, I was like, that's new. That's like, that, that is not something that's been in the series. I've played the series so many times. That is completely new. I was really excited for it. I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon, but it is good to know that it is still coming along and that we are seeing more for it.
The bit we've seen, because we've already seen that UE5 tech demo city previously when we saw some new Kingdom Hearts 4 stuff. There wasn't a lot to go off of back then. What we saw now was we got to see some more combat. We got to see a few hints at things that are coming. Like, I know right now the internet's arguing, oh, is that a Moana sword or was that an elemental sword? So I don't know which one was it, but we saw some more characters. We heard some brief dialogue in Japanese, which means, the English stuff it's probably so far from being ready to be shown. And what they had, that was probably like just day one recordings that they just slapped in there and added, the drama filter. But it's still obviously, it's very early.
Well, I did want to go over characters because not only obviously we saw Sora and Donald, Goofy, stuff like that, but we saw a lot of original characters that we have not seen before. There was quite a few in that trailer.
There's at least 3.
Yeah,
I mean, but people are also trying to point out that these characters are already existing franchise characters. Like there was the blonde guy. People were trying to say if it's Luxord, the card.
Okay. Yeah.
13 member. There was another character, wearing the face mask, where people pulled images of a similar looking character from images from the mobile game.
So
these people have sourced or claim they're pulling at least similar enough concept sources from other pieces in the franchise.
I can buy that. I don't know if you played Melody of Memory, but at the end there was a cutscene where a brand new woman was revealed. She was kind of like a ghostly sphere or whatever. But they said that they were going to have newer characters that we have not seen before in 4, and kind of focus on, like these are new characters we don't know that are going to be important for the story. Obviously, they are kind of playing with like this is another almost like dimension that they're in. So I'm excited to kind of see where it goes. But as for Disney characters, you did mention the Moana sword. They wanted to do Moana for 3, but they didn't have time based on the release of 3 and when Moana came out. They didn't have time to fit it in. So I absolutely see Moana being in 4 with no question, I think it fits really well too, especially with the heart, of Tahiti or whatever. I think that just, obviously that's such a Kingdom Hearts thing.
And you could definitely get, Moana and Dwayne as little sidekicks, because they love it giving you your little sidekicks for whatever world you're in. I feel a little bit burnt after 3 because I went through all the games from 1 to whatever to get to 3 when it first came out, because I was brand new to the franchise. And by the end of 3, I just kind of walked away going like, that was just such a weaker entry in the franchise compared to its predecessors. Like I liked Dream Drop better than 3, and Dream Drop is considered one of the absolute worst.
Oh, I love Dream Drop. I
thought Dream Drop was fun. When you get into the flow, Dream Drop really hits hard.
3 was definitely the weakest for me. I enjoyed literally the rest of the series.
Chain of Memories exists.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah. You're right.
You like Chain of Memories? You like Chain of Memories?
I do like Chain of Memories, and then I get so far into it, and I'm like, I get pissed off. I'm like, there's so much grinding there. It's such a heavier grind than any of the other games, and that's what pisses me off about it. But I love it. Besides that, Kirby, have you played a Kingdom Hearts game?
Yeah, we don't know anything yet, but hopefully.
I feel like we should play, like, has Kirby played this game?
Have you played Kingdom Hearts?
Should we have a drinking game every time that Mrs. Kirby's first time.
Exposed to the series.
So I watched my cousin play it, but I did not personally play it.
I mean,
No,
that's
I
that's
didn't
close
have
enough,
it.
right?
Yeah.
You're familiar
I
with it.
liked Yeah,
Tertiary
I liked
exposure.
watching it a lot. One of my coworkers actually is obsessed with this game, and I messaged him because I was watching the direct at work, so I messaged him as it was happening, and he was like, "Oh my god!" So
That's
I thought
good.
that was really cool. So
Ending on Kingdom Hearts, they showed, the series coming to Switch. I think they're getting rid of that cloud, whatever they had for it before. The art for it, people were concerned was AI. I think it was revealed that it was still hand drawn, but they used AI to kind of piece it together instead of, for some reason, doing it normally. But obviously, AI is becoming bigger in games, and there is a concern with the reveal of the new Crazy Taxi, where Sega has
Generative
said,
AI.
yes, Sega has said they are using generative AI for the new Crazy
Mm.
Taxi. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, the second we get the yeah, like obviously everyone's super on board.
Mhm.
But then generative, like obviously, yeah, like you said, AI is becoming a bigger thing just across everything. Every
Mhm.
industry is being hit by AI. We're already seeing it used in games a lot. However, a lot of people are just using it more for generally flow
Mhm.
than generative. And obviously, flow AI with flow. There's never anything wrong with using AI to improve a workflow because no one wants to sit there doing the same monotonous task 8 billion times over when you can just automate it. Automations existed forever, and it's an early predecessor to modern AI. Hi, big tech guy here. So the generative part's where it's bad because it's like, what parts are the generative AI generating? Like,
Right.
are we actually creating whole assets off of generative
Mhm.
AI, or is it just art that's going to be plastered on walls? Because that's the varying degrees of how egregious is it.
I think
Mhm.
as long as it's replaced when the game comes out, obviously there's going to be AI used in everything. The AI is used in everything right now. I think if they kind of use it for like a general direction, it's okay. I think
Placeholders.
we saw Expedition 33 also did that. And exactly, placeholders. And they replaced it. So if they do the same thing with Crazy Taxi, I don't think it's going to be a big deal as long as they actually, get artists in there and make sure that they are replacing the art with actual art. I think it's okay for, like you said, placeholders and kind of being like, this is the theme we kind of want to go for it. Like, this is kind of what we're looking for, at the moment.
I mean, Sega's already not big on the moral compass, considering they grabbed the Tupac stuff for A
Yeah.
Stranger in Heaven.
Yeah.
So Sega on the moral compass, I can see them kind of
That's
sticking with
0
it.
and 2 for Sega in this
Yeah.
one episode.
Come on, Sega. You can do better. We know it.
I mean,
As
Sega's
soon-
been doing some good stuff with
Yeah.
the modern ports they've been putting out, like grabbing old
Mhm.
franchises that had cult followings and giving them to us again and reviving things. Like, they've been doing a lot to earn people's goodwill back, which they're even going crazy with the Sonic Crossworlds DLC and just giving it everything.
Absolutely.
But things like this, obviously, that's going to make everybody easily forget all those pieces of goodwill that you earned, and it's really going to burn that to the ground.
Speaking of goodwill, let's get over to the Xbox showcase because I feel like Xbox was kind of in a pit for a long, long time. And obviously they are trying to dig themselves out of it. And
While
I think
also kind of reigniting some old wars, but let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think they had the strongest showcase. I could probably sit here and talk for like 2 hours about that showcase.
You think they had a better showcase than PC Gamer led by Day 9? Do you remember Day 9?
Yeah.
20 years ago playing StarCraft?
Unfortunately, this year, yes, I do think they were better. But obviously, they started with the new Gears of War, which is coming out pretty soon. I think they said it's a pretty long campaign. I think like around 14 hours.
That's long for Gears of War.
There has been some concern recently because it is also said that the game is around $400 million in cost to make. I think it looks fantastic. Obviously, 14 hours, that's a long game for a single player game. 400 million is a lot. Obviously, things have ballooned But I remember when Metal Gear Solid 5 for both the engine and the entire game was said to be over budget around 80 million. And obviously this is over 4 times that now.
That's a Pandora's box you don't want to open, because Konami buried that one even further, and then they try to just salvage it by applying that was the Fox engine, that was Kojima's baby, and then they started using it for Football Manager, so that's I don't know if you also watched, because at the end of the main showcase they did do an expanded Gears of War E-Day segment, which I sat through that. It was a fun time. It looks very interesting. You know, we're gonna get to see how the chainsaw gets put on the gun. Which that's something everyone's been screaming about forever. It's like, when did they put the chainsaw on the gun? Because in the trailer they established that the chainsaw wasn't always on the gun.
Right.
That's the Cliffy B's dismay.
Gears of War is a very big franchise to me. I like Halo, and I always felt like Gears of War was kind of like Halo overshadowed it for sure. Gears of War deserved a lot more respect than it ever got. And I think that they're finally doing a new one. I think it looks good. I think 4 and 5 were really good, but people didn't seem to really care. Like, I feel like they did well and were like liked, but it seemed like they just kind of fell off afterwards and people just kind of ignored them. So going back to E-Day, I think it looks good. I think it looks really good. I really hope this is a return to form for the series. I hope that it kind of makes a bigger splash this time around. Very excited for it.
Because they had some good stuff.
That's another one that I always watched my brother play is Gears of War. A lot of my game experience is by proxy.
Gears of War was co-op.
There's never anything wrong with that.
Did he not let you play co-op? Gears of War, it was all co-op.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you 2-player the whole time.
Wow, I gotta call him.
Yeah, I mean, 4 was a fun modern day toe dip back into that franchise, but then 5 didn't really go anywhere with it. So it has been in a weird place, but granted, we've seen it more recently. They have been updating that game. They were updating that game. They were randomly putting people in there. They put Rahul Kohli in there. I don't know if you know who that is. So and that was in an update. So they put Dave Bautista in there, didn't they?
Yeah. Something
in
like
an update.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even on launch. So it's like, this is something they've been trying to get some rudimentary level of interest in. Yeah, some kind of a push. But I hopefully the E-Day is going to be returned to form. We do, unfortunately, like, you know, the trailer showing all these extra characters. Like, I don't recognize any of these people. How come they're in the prequel, but not in the first game? It's like, ooh. Let's not get attached to these guys.
Yeah. Kind of avoid that.
And it's gonna also just be weird, because then you're putting yourself in a position where it's gonna be impossible to go back to Gears of War 1 unless you already have a sentimental attachment to that game. If you go back to 1 now, you can be like, oh, how come we don't have the super grenade that we had in there? Would they get rid of that tech? Like, it's just world building things you end up losing along the way. So
yeah, whenever you do a prequel,
this is gonna have to be the new baseline that they're gonna need to support for the foreseeable future if they really want this franchise to have a chance.
Absolutely. I hope it does have a chance. I hope it does. Obviously, when I was, growing up, I thought Gears of War and Halo were like their big flagships. I have learned that Gears of War kind of was, but was, obviously always overshadowed. But speaking of Halo, we saw the remake campaign evolve, the remake of the first one. Same game for the most part, like obviously when you do a remaster remake, games always look like how you imagine them looking back then, but they obviously didn't. So Halo, it looks really beautiful. Water is beautiful. Land is beautiful. Everything about it is beautiful. What really surprised me, though, was the reveal that they are adding additional missions to expand on Halo 1. I think that's fantastic.
Prequel levels.
Yeah. Like I said, we kind of went over Rayman also doing it, where they're adding more to it. I think that's good. I think, if we're remaking these games, it doesn't have to be 1-1. Why can't you expand more on certain things, add more missions? Some people obviously want things to be more, this is how I remember it, this is how I want it, don't touch my masterpiece. But I don't see an issue with it. I see it is a good thing, you're expanding what people loved. Hopefully you're kind of matching it. Obviously, if the missions don't turn out as well as the originals in the feel and stuff like that, people may not look at it so kindly, but I don't see why experimenting with that and going back and adding more to a remake is bad.
We are seeing a heavy focus on the inclusion in these missions of a very beloved franchise character, Sergeant Johnson, Major Johnson. I don't remember his rank, but Johnson is going to be a potentially playable character. Those trailers made the perspective look like Johnson was playable.
Yes, it did kind of, yes.
So seeing that, I mean, that's super cool because, again, he is a beloved fan favorite character in that entire franchise because he's an over-the-top drill sergeant character. But it's going to be cool. It is going to be radically different than the rest of the game with that inclusion, but that also speaks, well, is he also going to be there for the rest of it? How is this going to change things up? Because he doesn't really become his own character until the second game. He is littered throughout the first game, but he's really his own character in the second game, kind of like how the Arbiter becomes his own character as well, and things like that.
I did play a lot of Halo. I love Halo.
Hell yeah.
We would do customs mostly. I didn't play the campaigns. That was my experience with games throughout high school, was just the zombie mode of COD and the gun game. I was pretty good at that, actually. But anyway, with Halo, I always preferred the hammer. I wish that there was an equivalent to the gravity hammer in every game ever. That's like the best weapon in
there kind of was on Fortnite for a while.
Yeah, I remember that with chapter 4 with the what's his name? I don't remember, the prince dude.
The gravity hammer is obviously huge.
Yeah, did play Halo.
Nice. Energy sword was always cool. Halo had a lot of cool stuff. The remake of 1 does not have multiplayer, which I'm okay with just the single player.
It is going to be single player, but we're going to see the inclusion of weapons that were not originally available. So you will be in Halo 1, you're going to be able to pick up the energy sword and the Covenant weapons.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with it just being single player. Obviously, multiplayer was a big thing, but I guess that's what Master Chief Collection is kind of for, right? They're kind of steering your way.
Because Infinite's losing its support, so...
Yeah. I'm assuming, obviously, we see the remake of 1. I assume they're eventually going to do 2 and 3, but most likely...
I guess that's probably going to depend on the success of 1. So
yeah, I don't even know if that's necessarily
true. You got to remember, that may not necessarily be true 100%, but I definitely am viewing this as one of those vote with your wallet things. If you want to see more of this, you got to buy it.
Yeah. I think we'll see 1. I do think we'll see 2 and 3 remake. I don't think they're going to steer away from that. People have been asking for the 3 remake for a long time. But I do think that they are probably hands down working on Halo 7 also at the same time. I think that is very much coming with the next generation of Xbox, which is rumored to be closer than we think. So I do think that's probably coming up soon.
Well, with the advent of UE6 coming way sooner than anticipated, we can definitely see the next generation of everything.
Yeah.
But do you think that a new Halo might be a make it or break it for Halo Studios?
I've thought that since Halo 4, and they keep hanging on. They're not going to let go of Halo. They're not going to let go of Halo no matter what. They restructured the whole studio twice now, and they're still not... Halo's obviously still falling off, but that is their flagship. Like, that is what they want to be successful.
Halo is the Futurama of Microsoft.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, they're gonna always have some studio working on it. It doesn't matter. It's gonna happen. But we also saw another big franchise that we haven't seen in a while. Fable. Yes.
Fable.
Yeah. We saw obviously the villain reveal, which I really liked that trailer. I like that reveal in the trailer. I think she looked great. Her whole dialogue was great. But I've noticed whenever they talk about the game, we see them talk very much like Peter used to talk. They're like, hey, that NPC will remember you 10 hours from now, 3 chapters later. They'll remember exactly the exact dialogue you told them, and they're going to change their whole life around what you told them. They're making very big promises like that. And I don't know if it's to keep in the spirit of Fable or if technology has come far enough to where we may actually see that stuff. Like, I think one of the first things they said was, you can kill a giant, and that giant will, they'll start forming a town around that giant if you do kill it, or if not, that town will never form, or it's something like that, It feels very much stuff that, like, Peter used to say about Fable that he wanted Fable to be that we never actually got. Do you think we are actually at that point where we will see these promises kept?
Maybe not in the same scope that Peter Molyneux kind of under-delivered. Because Peter Molyneux was always an over-promiser. Because, I mean, it's great to have grandiose design and ideas, but then with technology, especially back then, it was way harder to hit. So I'm being hopeful. A lot of people being very hopeful about Fable. I mean, this has been floating around forever. It's been delayed multiple times. Now it will be delayed again because it's already been pushed back to February. I could definitely see it being pushed back again. And I'm always on the side of we have enough games as much as people want this one. If it needs more time in the oven, let it get that time that it needs. Publishers may not agree with that. Publishers might not agree with it, but we definitely would prefer something that works.
Right. Obviously, they have numbers to meet. I'm okay with it being in February. Obviously, we have GTA 6 in November that everyone's trying to avoid. So yeah, I'm okay. You know, I can wait a couple months for it. I want it to be the best game it can be. If they can keep adding to it during that time, I'm okay. I want it to be good. I want to get more Fable in the future. I want it to be successful. So do what you need to do to make that happen.
Oh yeah, I just I don't know. I loved Fable. It was a big one to watch my brother play growing up. But I did play Fable 3. I beat Fable 3 in 11 hours in one sitting. I loved that game. It was so good. I was evil. Yeah, I was evil. It was my first multiplayer online experience as well. I would E-date on that game. I learned how to play chess on that game. Oh, Fable is really dear to my heart. I loved that game, so I'm very excited to see it coming back.
So speaking of, big games, big promises, I want to go off a little side here because I'm very excited for this topic. We, for years, if you are fans of anime games, or anime in general, the games have felt like it's either you're getting a fighting game or you're getting an arena fighter. Either way, you're fighting and it doesn't matter. You're getting all your favorite characters in it, but you're going to be fighting. There has been a turn recently, and we saw it really at the Nintendo Direct also, where they are starting to experiment and branch out more on these games. One Piece Grand Gourmet obviously is a cooking game featuring 400 plus characters in the series. It may not be the craziest game ever. It may, but it is playing into that series' strengths, into that world. Same with the new Jujutsu Kaisen game. It's more like a survivor game, but very much playing into the rules, where you get different rules as you go on. Then it turns into a 1v1. It very much fits into that universe, and they may be smaller games, but I really hope that they are starting to, think about it and be like, oh, we've had arena fighters all along, we can turn every series we want into an arena fighter. That's fine. But there are these universes, anime universes. People love those worlds. They love those characters. There are different things to explore.
Are underused in video games.
Absolutely. Right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's always been arena fighters, and there's so much more you can do with these universes. One Piece, you could do so much in the One Piece world. And we keep getting we do get open world games and stuff with it. We got a JRPG that was pretty, decent, but there is a lot more you can do with those universes. And I really hope we are going to start seeing that with anime, where they play into those universes and make more games.
Roblox has done more.
I was going to say Roblox. So you can pretty much they take those anime and you can do so much with them, and Roblox creators.
We never get life sims or things like that, and that's stuff people would like. It's so easy to take. Like you said, everything's a fighting game.
Put yourself in the universe of that. Like, how many people do if you were isekai'd in the last anime that you watched, what would it be? Stuff like that. So they just, it's right there. Come on.
With how centralized a lot of anime is with fighting as a core concept, your Naruto's and your Dragon Balls, it's so easy to take that, and the only way to really encapsulate that spirit is in a fighting game. But then you do have things like we've seen Gundam before, and we're seeing a new Attack on Titan one where it turns into a Musou, a Dynasty Warrior style game, where it's just a big open battlefield, and it's not necessarily a fighting game, but it's still an action battler.
Right. It plays in that universe though. And
it does play in the universe.
Right.
It's not just a straight fighting game. You know, we're getting an Attack on Titan 3, which is the third Muso game. Again, it's Dynasty Warrior style game for those not even know. But those games are phenomenal, and it's not just you're not grabbing Eren, the main character, and having him fight just another dude like on a side stage and just let me hit this button combo to go do a sword swing. No, you're swinging across the whole land. The way they do it gives you the actual anime feel of let me just hyper go crazy movement. It's kind of like Spider-Man movement, you know. So it's a lot of stuff like that. So there are few alternatives, but actually, One Piece also does have a couple Musos, which is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Pirate Warriors, really good.
It's cool to see different takes, and I think that's smart to do. Like you said, Jujutsu Kaisen's getting a Vampire Survivors. I have zero exposure to Jujutsu Kaisen, but I see that Vampire Survivors game, and I'm like, I like Ponko. I like the work they do. I think I might pick this one up and see what's going on here.
Yeah, no, there's so much there, and there's so much anime that has like been skipped over for a game because they can't make a fighting game out of it, and it's like, okay, well, maybe you can do other things with it, And I think I am under the thought, this is like my thought, maybe other people disagree, when it comes to anime, when it comes to comic book characters, I think we are in a pop culture world now where you can take any character. You can take any character. If the game is good, it will sell. It doesn't matter what it is.
A delicious in dungeon hunting and cooking game.
Exactly. Yeah, literally just,
that would be
it's
Monster
funny.
Hunter
I was thinking
gameplay
Food
and cooking.
Wars.
Food Wars, there you go. Food Wars.
Like a Food Wars game, like a Food Wars platformer.
Yeah, like I literally think you could take some C rank superhero or whatever. If the game is good, it will sell. And I will stand by that. I think that we are in a completely different world now where you can take risks on certain characters because people now are, they have access to the internet. If they don't know a character, but they know it's from their favorite brand, like Marvel, DC, anything like that, they'll look into it and they'll be like, oh, this character is actually really cool. I don't think there is anything off limits to make
Marvel
something
Rivals, for example, they're doing exactly that. They're taking
a lot of mini, characters people didn't know. People didn't really know Jeff. Now Jeff is everywhere. People didn't know Luna Snow. Now Luna Snow has a resurgence, People
didn't know Squirrel Girl. Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly.
People don't know the hood, and they're about to know the hood.
Exactly. They take a lot of things that, a lot of characters that people don't know, and all of a sudden they get skyrocketed in popularity because of Marvel Rivals. All of a sudden people know them, and that's not bad. It's good.
Hopefully Tokon does the same thing. They already took the Danger Room.
I was gonna say people started talking about Danger. I started seeing Danger places. I was like, nobody talks about Danger. That's exactly my point. They could take.
They're also
any
doing a
character.
much more comic book accurate magic than Rivals is doing.
Yes, they are.
How she talks and how much of an asshole she is.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But I think that if people are watching like a trailer or something and they see that Marvel logo, that DC logo, if they're interested in those brands, they're going to peek up. And again, I think you could take any character, any C rank, D rank character, and if you make the game good, if you make it interesting, if it looks good, people are going to buy it. They're going to look into this character, and I think we're in a completely different world than we were 10, 15 years ago, where you could only make a Batman game. You couldn't do these other characters. I don't think that exists.
Well, they tried Superman on the N64, and that didn't go too well.
Not even necessarily because of the character, though. There was limitations.
No.
But yeah. Again, I think we're just in a completely different world.
Speaking of another world, did we talk about the Big Walk?
There you go. Big Walk. Friend slop in general. We're seeing a lot more of those friend slop. I don't know if we necessarily want to call it that. That sounds kind of a little rude, but that seems to be what the term is people are picking up.
I love and empower friend slop because, at its core, it is, there's just so much of it. And it's those games where it's like, you can have fun, but then you look at the game itself. It's like, this is such a nothing game. This is something a student in a college could have made. And in some cases, that's what it is. It's one guy making this crazy thing. But
they're fun. They're fun with friends.
Insane. And exactly. So we're seeing the Big Walk. We're seeing Extremely Hard Game, which that one also
that looks
phenomenal.
So fun too.
All these look so damn good. And Oh, the era of friend slop, like AAA. Look at this. This is what's outselling your thing that you thought was going to be a platinum hit.
Yeah, they're not really taking any risk with AAA games anymore, but like all these indie games are coming out of nowhere, especially, like Friendslop, like we're talking about. And all of a sudden this game that like nobody hears about comes out, and a week later it's everywhere. We're seeing it with that Chameleon game with the art
genre.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Art Chameleon game. I was just looking at that game the other day and thinking about how difficult I felt like it would be for me.
Yeah, trying to. Yeah, I think it would be fun, and I think the point is it's not necessarily to be. I think so many games are competitive now, where Friendslop isn't necessarily like how good are you at the game. It's how fun, like it doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter your skill level.
It's the vibes.
Exactly, it's the vibes.
The game isn't.
How good can you get the vibes?
Yeah, the game not intended to be a good game. Like that's the whole part of it too. It's sometimes that jank, that trashiness to it is what keeps people interested and invested. Because how many times have you ever been with a friend looking at games like, oh, this game looks like complete shit. Let's try it out. and you end up being pleasantly surprised, and you keep going and going, and it's like, this looks like crap, but we're still here trying because there's something here that is keeping us invested.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I play a lot of Friendslop games. There's one that comes out almost every week. And I feel like there's so many more I could play and still have fun. Like it doesn't matter how similar they may be. Like I have fun playing with my friends. Rico. It's very much like those old couch co-op days that don't really exist anymore. This is the next evolution of that, and they've kind of mastered it, and we're seeing a lot of them.
Yeah, I get a new friend slot by pending emails every week almost.
Exactly. Yep. Me too.
And there's so much, and this is, unfortunately, we are starting to see like people copycatting and trying to be like, maybe. I can do that too. I can. Oh, Lethal came out. I could do that.
I can reskin
it. And then it turns into that essentially.
Yeah.
Like how many Phasmos were there?
Mm-hmm. There's still, there's still some coming out, and they are trying new things. We kind of saw that with like Dead by Daylight 2. Everyone wanted to be the asymmetrical horror game, and we have them come out, and then they're done in 6 months. Like nothing's able to match up to it. I wanted
Texas Chainsaw to succeed so badly, but hey, maybe Saw Genesis can be the one.
I'm not even talking about just like the licensed one. We have ones that are like, we're taking these like Korean folklore characters and like
Outlaws Trials is doing okay though.
Yeah, no, Outlaws Trials is good. I was gonna say I don't know if I'd call that the same thing.
That's just more of a co-op.
It's not.
It's not PvP.
PvP.
Yeah, Outlast Trials is fantastic. Outlast Trials is like semi PvP. There is some stuff to it.
Oh yeah, with one of the
Mm-hmm. Yes, there is. You can control one of the people that hunt you down. I don't know if you know that, but yes, that is one of the mechanics in it.
Sounds like Left 4 Dead.
Kind of, yeah.
Game mode in Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, like there's a lot of games that try to, obviously capitalize. When something new does come out, everything wants to be that. Like we see it with genres too. Zombie games. All of a sudden there was a bunch of zombie games. We're seeing it with vampire games right now. There's a couple big vampire games, and all of a sudden there's like, I think there's like 12 in the next year coming out.
Well, hell, Vampire Survivor games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Survivor games.
A lot of those coming out. Vampire Survivors was a ripoff of another game.
I was gonna say it wasn't original. Vampire Survivors is fantastic. It wasn't original.
Vampire Survivors just was the one that took off.
Exactly, it was the one that got popular. Got lucky.
How lucky can you be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's really it is. Yeah, definitely not original. Among Us wasn't original, and look how popular that was. That took off running.
Well, that took a few years, and that took just.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it was already out a couple years when it blew up. Yeah.
People during COVID doing friend slop night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Boom! Full circle.
Yeah, I think they were like, there was a point when they were gonna do Among Us 2, and then they pulled back, and they're like, oh, Among Us is popular, so we're just gonna continue building off this game. But they tried a few different things, and yeah, Among Us was around for a while before it blew off. Like I want to say like a year or two it was out.
They just put out a TV show.
Yeah. The TV show is actually really funny if you haven't watched it, by the way. It's a lot more
voice cast in it.
It's a lot more adult than you may be thinking. Like, I mean, like sexual content and stuff like that with those little bean
Oh,
things.
wow.
Yeah. They all wanna fuck the blue. They all wanna fuck blue. Everyone in it is very thirsty for blue. And they make that very known.
Oh my god,
Voice
it's
is
like
blue.
a green M&M situation all
Yeah.
over again.
And obviously they all look the same because it's the Among Us characters, but Blue is like the dreamy doctor that everyone wants to get with. Very funny show, very funny show. I was surprised at how much I was enjoying it, and it does seem like it's more for those adults that were playing it during COVID and making drinking games or whatever. It feels like it's very much that vibe instead of what you may think when.
I mean,
Yeah.
at its core, Among Us is a more mature themed game.
Mhm.
As much as like the bright colors scream, this is a kids thing.
Yeah,
When
It's
you
a
look at the
game
core
that kids
concept
can
of it,
play, but it's not necessarily a kids game.
exactly.
so dust off your Paramount Plus subscriptions and go.
I
TV show.
I have like I think 3 episodes left of it, and I am excited to finish
Nice.
it because it's good. It's funny. There I just watched an episode where they didn't realize that the oxygen was cut and they were all like hallucinating from it. Obviously oxygen deprivation. So they all get naked and like fucking like dance and like an orgy scene. It's like, this is crazy. And then they realize that the oxygen's been cut and they need to restore it. Absolutely crazy show, though. It is not what you're probably expecting going into it at all.
Wow.
Yeah. Very fun. Pokemon Pokopia. That was a huge game when it came out. Obviously, it made huge splashes. I think Switch 2 sales like blew up. Like, everyone had to have a Switch 2. Yeah, they absolutely, like, that was their big system seller they needed. They announced the first DLC, which is underwater, a lot more water Pokemon, and I'm hoping, I noticed when I played the game that there wasn't a lot of ice Pokemon, so I'm hoping to see a lot more, and I thought they were probably maybe saving that for like more like an ice kind of realm, but we're getting underwater instead, so that is not where I thought they were going quite. It's adjacent, but not quite where I thought that they would be. Have you played Pokemon
Pokopia is still fairly new. I mean, I have it. I happen to no, it's not. I have it physically around here somewhere in this room. But I own it. My roommate plays it more than I do, but it's still fairly new. And to see DLC coming out this soon is it's pretty crazy. But that's the trend these days. DLC is just so instant. But there is going to be a free update as well. A pretty size, not as big as an expansion, but it's still a pretty sizable free update. So they are making it clear, like, they are still going to be supporting this for the long haul. We will be seeing free updates along with these expansions. So I guess, free updates, that can be anything from like, oh, hey, we're adding just like a couple new building types or something like that. Where the expansion is, we have a whole new biome.
So
I think expansions being like biomes being expansions, that seems fine. But like core game elements being part of big updates, to me, that seems more than fair.
Absolutely. So obviously they are adding, the underwater biome. Like you said, minor spoiler alerts. Pokopia takes place in the future in Kanto. There were leaks that they were going to add in the other towns. Obviously, we do not see that with this expansion unless, the town is underwater, which is absolutely possible in this universe. But I'm very curious if they are still going to do that, if this is maybe like something they were able to get out, quicker. And maybe we will go and maybe we'll see more expansion passes for Pokopia. Who knows? Maybe they're going to try and fit a lot more of the roster in it. But very curious what they end up doing and how this continues story-wise.
I was just about to say, I have not played that game. But I watch you play it on Twitch. And it looks fun.
Yeah. Do you like those kind of like more world building, kind of like more Animal Crossing-y type things? Did you play Pal World and do the world building in Pal World at all? Like what's your exposure to those kinds of genres?
So I love to be an extra backpack in those games. I love I love playing those games, but I appreciate not having responsibility because I get very stressed out whenever things go wrong and it's my fault that everything is on fire and we suddenly have no food. But sure, I'll go with be mining and I'll carry all these extra really heavy things for you.
Hell yeah.
My biggest problem with those things, I am not the most creative person, so I'm just like,
I love
you look at all these,
decorating in them.
yeah, and that's where I fall off because like you want to decorate and build this, you want to build like your castle, your palace, but then like me, I'm just building the basic work foundations and then just going like, okay, what do I do next? Because I need an objective direction to go in, so that's why I struggle with these things. I played a bunch of OG Animal Crossing, and that's really as far as I got. So,
when I play like Minecraft, Animal Crossing, whatever like that, I play with somebody who is very artistic. They will like in the first day of Pokopia, you know, they were the one that had like the full city kind of situation, where I'm like, oh, I'm building these basic like huts, you know, like I don't know what I'm doing. And then meanwhile, they've like mastered the mechanics and they're building like this crazy like contraptions and stuff like that. Very night and day. So like a lot of times they're like, you know, they'll tell me, hey, I need this and that, and I'll just run and go get it. And like, I'm fine with that. You know, like I enjoy the like digging and
Being
the like
video game gopher is the best job.
Exactly,
it is the best
exactly.
job.
Like you make your vision come to life. I'll get whatever you need. You know, you just tell me. I'll go make the run.
Anything for you, princess.
So a couple more topics back into kind of RPGs here. We saw, I mean, really, the Nintendo Direct had quite a few. We saw the new Fire Emblem. We saw the new Xenoblade, Xenoblade Genesis. That seems to be like we had Xenoblade 1, 2, 3.
Which are getting remakes.
Yes.
HDified.
Well, I was going to say.
They're getting
they're
modern
getting updates.
the modern day current hardware version.
Mm-hmm. And then we saw Xenoblade Genesis, which obviously seems to be kind of, they're going to almost separate like this. You know, it's going to be its own thing now, in a way. Genesis, obviously, some kind of beginning. So it seems like it's going to be pretty separated, which I'm pretty excited for. I know some people may not, you know, want to jump into Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3. So this could be a good entry point into the series if they aren't, and maybe if they like this, they jump into the others.
Xenoblade is I mean, like you said, it's a monumental series. And it's very huge. They're very big games.
Mm-hmm.
They are not, but I mean, for me, like I haven't personally played one, but I've watched entire playthroughs of plenty of them, so I know what I would be getting into, and that's part of why I avoid getting into it myself. I'm like, I don't have time for that.
Mm-hmm.
But they are terrific games, and if like kind of live action RPG combat is your thing, these are perfect games for that. With as far as 1, 2, and 3 goes, nobody has realistically got time for that. But if you do want to get a foothold in the franchise, like you can jump into any of those and get a very good understanding of what you're going to get into in the franchise. It's kind of like Persona, where people will tell you, no, you got to play them in order. You don't got to play them in order. You can just jump in anywhere and enjoy yourself. There's even the spin-off of Xenoblade X, which is really cool. And some people like that better. Some people hate it more.
More like mech and futuristic.
Yeah. So it is a really interesting, really cool franchise, which is a continuation of another older Dead franchise, but it is very much worth keeping an eye on. Even if like you're not planning on going into it yourself, it's very much worth keeping an eye on because this is an excessively interesting franchise, and the fact that we now have it locked in Nintendo, it just obviously strengthens their catalog.
Absolutely. Going into another JRPG, obviously, I wanted to say this towards the end, but Final Fantasy VII, we have the final part that was revealed. They actually showed quite a bit. It looks like it's much sooner than we may think. How do we feel?
How big Rebirth was, the fact that we're getting the final part this soon is, what's it called, like Revelation or something like that? It's an R name.
Yes.
They're all R names. And it looks so cool. It looks like they're kind of throwing away the current system and just saying, go do whatever you want. We saw some of like the end game optional super bosses. We saw a ton of stuff. So like obviously if you know the flow from the original, then you kind of know the direction this one's going, kind of like how you knew where the direction of Rebirth was going. But I'm blown away because I have been avoiding getting into Rebirth because I know it is a monster of a game. They give you way too much to do, and for how big that game is, the fact that we're getting this much detail for Revelation this soon blows my mind. I wasn't expecting to hear anything for Revelation for at least 2 more years.
Oh, really?
I mean, there was a big gap between Rebirth and Remake.
No, you're right. There was.
I was expecting almost the exact same kind of gap. So the fact that we're this far along is monumental. It's crazy.
Yeah, I personally did not think there would be that big of a gap for a couple of reasons. One, they have most of the stuff already done from Rebirth that they can kind of recycle. 2, obviously, we went back, and we talked about Kingdom Hearts 4. I still do not believe that Kingdom Hearts 4 will start its marketing campaign heavily. I think that trailer is more to start, hey, this is still a thing. We're not forgetting about it. I don't think they're going to... What was that? Sorry?
Oh, I was just repeating you. Sorry.
Yeah. I do not think that they are going to get into the marketing of Kingdom Hearts 4 or be prepared for release until after Final Fantasy VII remakes are done. So I did expect this first. I did expect them to kind of push it out because they want to get Kingdom Hearts 4 out. So I thought it was going to be kind of all hands on deck. It looks amazing. I like that you can jump from, you have the airship the whole time. Like you said, you can kind of do a lot more optional stuff. They hinted really heavily or, said that you can kind of play it almost like Breath of the Wild, kind of where you're just kind of drop down. You can go any which way you want. You may come across stuff that's way too over leveled, but you can go there. You can try to do it if you want. And you can kind of explore
weapon at level 1.
Yeah. But I'm very excited for it. I need to get back to Rebirth. I love Final Fantasy as a series a lot. I love 7. It may not be my favorite. It is a lot of people's favorite. I'm glad it got remade for those that love it that much. Mm-hmm. I do like that they tried changing it up a little bit here and there too. Very excited to see kind of where this ends. If it ends kind of similar to the original, or if they kind of go in a completely different direction, which they kind of have changed things up, like I said. So,
well, the core stuff is still there. So that's where it's kind of like, is the core ending still going to be there? Are we going to get Advent Children baked into this? Who knows? Oh, man, the sky's the limit right now.
They'll remake the movie next.
The first DLC, Advent Children.
Yeah. But the other big thing is for Final Fantasy VII, slightly before they revealed Final Fantasy VII, they showed off the next season for Tekken 8. And at the end, the last character revealed was obviously Tifa. Or, no, sorry, for Street Fighter. Yes, sorry. So, after Final Fantasy VII, a little bit before, they showed off the list of characters for the new season of Street Fighter. And the final reveal was Tifa. Obviously, this has been an issue because people have been wanting Tifa for Tekken 8 specifically for quite some time. And everyone thought that, maybe she would appear in Tekken. Instead, she is appearing in Street Fighter. How do we feel about that?
I mean, Tekken gets the craziest catalog of guest characters. They got a Walking Dead character. They've had Final Fantasy characters before with Noctis.
They have Baki now.
Tifa would have made way more sense for Tekken. So in Street Fighter never does guest spots other than their crossover games, which that doesn't count.
Yeah.
So the fact that this is like Street Fighter's first big guest spot, and it's for
like a personal attack.
Yeah. It does feel very personal.
A lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, no, it feels very done on purpose because so many people wanted Tifa for Tekken for so long. And now, obviously, a big competitor gets Tifa randomly. Of all characters you can get, obviously, Final Fantasy VII, the third remake is coming out and they want, some kind of cross promotion or whatever. But to get Tifa of all characters, it does feel very like, okay, this community,
personal.
Yeah, this community is asking.
This is a last stand for Street Fighter 6. Because Street Fighter 6 is in a very bad spot right now. A lot of the pros are falling off of Street Fighter because
years.
The characters, the story issues, the people that the diehards will always be the diehards. Right. People still have a tremendous respect for Street Fighter, and it will always have a tremendous amount of respect. But this is probably the hardest fall off we've seen for a Street Fighter, and the fall off is happening a lot faster than it did for Street Fighter 5 and even 4 before that. So it's crazy to see that, and which is how unhappy people have been with like the most recent DLC characters. So this is kind of a Hail Mary for Street Fighter in a way. The amount of pros, like even before this announcement, I was listening to people heavily invested in the FGC just saying, "Oh yeah, I'm finally deleting Street Fighter 6. I'm kind of over it now."
Yeah, I mean,
And that was a common sentiment. And now everyone's like, I guess I have to leave it installed.
yeah.
So it's a big question mark.
Fighting games are played for a long time. Like when Mortal Kombat 1 came out, 11 and 10 were still being played heavily. Like, so to have people.
1 was really bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even before, like it. Yeah, I get it. But Street Fighter 6 was very strong for a long time. Like it was months later. Like I think it was the highest I've ever seen anybody play a fighting game, like player count wise. Months after the game released, which usually you see the casuals drop off pretty quickly. So to see it be in this bad spot and then to see them get Tifa, I do think that is getting them the buzz. People are paying attention. They're looking at this game like, what are they going to do now?
It's a Hail Mary.
Yeah, I think it was good. I think it was a good choice.
The big last attempt. Because if this doesn't save it, Street Fighter 7, let's go.
Yeah, you guys pretty much said it all. Like, I think it's definitely Street Fighter's kind of last-ditch effort to become relevant again, I guess. That's not really the word I want to use, but it's the word that's coming to mind.
Absolutely.
I think that fits perfectly.
Yeah. They're definitely trying to keep up.
You are a decently big Tekken player, Kirby. Would you have liked to see Tifa in Tekken, or would you have been like, no, it doesn't matter? Would you not have cared?
Yeah, of course. It doesn't make any sense for Tifa to be in Street Fighter. Like, she doesn't really have ties to Street Fighter like that.
Right.
So it's incredibly random to see. I was like, Tifa? What? I was more surprised with Tifa and Street Fighter than I was about the random Tupac.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was very thrown off because I'm just always hell bent on anticipated her in a Tekken game.
Yeah.
So
definitely makes more sense for a Tekken.
Yeah, so I'm at a loss for words about it.
If Street Fighter 6 does obviously not bounce back, as much as I like Street Fighter, Capcom is sitting on like 10 other fighting game franchises. I would love to see them at least try to do something with them. Give us a new Darkstalkers. I know that's never going to happen. I know.
Give us a new MVC that isn't bad.
Yeah, that too.
Don't try to overhaul MVC in the worst way possible because you want to run a silly gimmick for tournaments.
Token is not a replacement for MVC. We need a Marvel vs. Capcom along with the Token.
Token is just the next Arxis games, and guess what? Arxis never misses, and Arxis is still supporting Guilty Gear. They just put Lucy from Cyberpunk Edge Runners in Guilty Gear, but they also have every character they add to Guilty Gear is a different game. They added a character where you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh in the middle of your fighting game.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah,
it's so weird. Yeah. So weird. Which is why Tokon's going to be insane, but it's a whole different can of worms
and then there's the Virtua Fighter Crossroads that's coming out as well, and that's going to be kind of fun.
That looks insane. I've seen some stuff on it.
Not a standard fighting game. Isn't that going to be more of a story-based game?
It's got a bit of story. It's got more of a beat 'em up. It does obviously have the classic fighting game. It's very different. I've seen quite a bit on it. It looks like this is going to sound almost like pretentious, but it looks like the next evolution of fighting games.
Yeah?
I think, I really think so. There's I was seeing some footage of them, how they were dodging attacks and stuff. And it's to somebody who doesn't play fighting games, I think it's going to look like it's just another fighting game. But if you look closely to someone who has had experience with fighting games, it looks like it's shaking things up. It really looks like they are here to kind of be okay, how do we make this the next step?
Well, I know the writer, they have a lot of really good writers working on the game. For example, the lead writer is Brad Kane, who did Ghost of Tsushima and As Dusk Falls. So it's definitely on the story side going to be something I'm interested in. I've only ever played Virtua Fighter 5.
Okay.
Was it 5? I think it was 5. I went to a locals for Tekken. I came in second to last place.
Nice.
Hell yeah. I was
nice. Not last. That's what matters.
Yeah, I came in not last.
You beat somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that I came in last. up until very recently. I looked it up and I did
Nice.
not.
Good.
But anyway, so the only experience I had was just the one-on-one combat. So to see that there is a story that could be so interesting, because I was a big fan of Ghost of Tsushima. So anything that he touches, like, I would probably be more inclined to
Absolutely.
go into.
Of one final thing I want to personally cover, but before we get to that, is there anything you guys still want to talk about that we may not have missed? Or we may have missed, sorry.
Star Fox at the end of this month. I am so beyond excited. When I was a kid, I had the promotional VHS from Nintendo Power for Star Fox 64, and I had to have watched that tape over 20 times as a kid because I was just so goofy. And rewatching it today and understanding marketing and stuff today it's a whole different spin on that entire promotional video. But I am so excited for Star Fox 64. If they did an expanded look at it during the Treehouse during the Nintendo Direct, there's going to be a co-op for it. And it's going to be the same game at its core. Like, I am a little upset about different voices.
They are adding to it.
They're going to add a little bit of things to it, but at its very core, like, if you know the levels and how the levels work, how the extra tertiary conditions to get the true route for a specific level works. That's still going to be the same at its core, which is really cool. So I'm very excited. There's a demo, and we're going to see that thing soon. So that's very exciting.
Very soon, like 2 weeks, I think.
At the very end of this month.
Yep.
There's this new weird thing called Archeron, which apparently has had a few play tests, and I think it's something worth keeping an eye out on. It's basically like take isometric style, so like your Diablo or your Path of Exile. Add a team-based BR style thing. Like, the idea is you're climbing a tower, you're killing stuff, looting things, building up your gear, and encountering other teams, and trying to be the only team to make it to the top of a tower.
Okay, that sounds really interesting.
It sounds really interesting, and I saw that they showed a lot of gameplay. They gave it like its own 10-minute segment, kind of like what they did with Control and Beasts of Reincarnation. So it's something to keep if you like BR style, isometric style type of things, rogue style things, team based. Keep an eye on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna have to go back and look that up for sure. So final topic. We discussed the Summer Game Fest, we discussed State of Play, we discussed the Xbox Showcase, we discussed part of the Nintendo Direct, but they ended on a very specific announcement, which was a remake of Ocarina of Time. Personally, Breath of the Wild, I bought the Switch day one specifically for Breath of the Wild. It was not the game for me.
I didn't like it.
I'm glad.
Breath of the Wild ruined
Legend.
It ruined Legend of Zelda for me because I 100%ed the whole thing in a couple days. I do not want to go near Legend of Zelda again until now. This is
going to be a hot topic then, because a lot of people really swear by Breath of the Wild, and when I tell them I don't like it, they act like I have committed a crime, and it is crazy to me because my problem with Breath of the Wild is, and I know I'm going to have people who really disagree with this, but it was very open world and not much in that open world. You had your little dungeons, but like there was times where you would be walking for so long or, traveling for so long and there's just nothing around. Absolutely nothing. Way too big of a world for what it was. The weapon break mechanic, it was okay, but like it felt like a lot of padding to that game that did not need to be there. It wasn't, I'm sure it's a great game. It wasn't what I wanted from Zelda. When I think Zelda, I think like, Skyward Sword, Minish Cap, Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, stuff like that. So the fact we are getting Ocarina of Time, we saw very little of it, just like a little, CGI cinematic thing. Looked fantastic.
It exists.
Yeah, it exists. Supposedly towards the end of this year too, so we'll probably see more of it very soon. I really hope it is more of a faithful reimagining or faithful remake of Ocarina of Time, and they don't try to be something like, "Hey, we're gonna put the Ocarina of Time story in the Breath of the Wild world." I really hope it's faithful.
I would hate that.
Yeah, exactly. I hope it's faithful. I hope that they realize what people want from, or what I I guess I can't say all people, but what I think of Zelda when, I think of Zelda.
Hmm.
I mean, it's you saying that does put that thought in my head now, and that does make me concerned because I completely agree with everything you said about Breath of the Wild. I remember Breath of the Wild first came out around the same time as Horizon did, Zero Dawn, and people were comparing the two because they were kind of similarly the same game,
I guess.
kind of, and people were saying like, I'd rather play Horizon, and of course you have the Nintendo diehards arguing otherwise, but ultimately it was a more padded out, better world than Breath of the Wild's world. Breath of the Wild's world was very empty and padded out, and I definitely I have 2 copies of Ocarina of Time sitting in my house right now. I have the gold N64 cartridge and the 3DS version. I even have the limited edition 3DS sitting behind me on a shelf. I can't even turn the thing back on anymore, but I am very diehard Ocarina of Time. It's not even my favorite, but obviously I was like, as a kid with an N64, it's such a monumental game because that is the game that took Zelda to the nth degree, took it to where we know it today. We wouldn't have our Twilight Princesses or Majoras or Skyward Swords or even Breath of the Wild without the Ocarina of Time. So I mean, granted that natural evolution was bound to come at any point, but that was it. And it is, they hit it out of the park. It is all these things, and it is an open world like Breath of the Wild, where you can kind of sequence out of order certain things, but you do still have to sequentially complete it.
Yes.
And hopefully, like you said, hopefully they don't turn it into Breath of the Wild, because that will definitely it would make it a new game.
Right.
But it's
not what we want.
We need it to be this thing that we expect, that we know and love.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up playing Zelda games. I played the story games on Story of Seasons, Oracles or whatever.
Yeah.
I played Minish Cap. I played A Link to the Past. Zelda was like one of my biggest franchises, and there was a time where I got every single one day one. And I'm not saying Breath of the Wild is a bad game. It's just not the game I was wanting from Zelda. And when Tears of the Kingdom came out, I didn't even buy that. I still don't own that one. And I did not buy it, and that kind of turned me off from the Zelda game. Like, this was literally a franchise I bought every single one day one for until this point. So I'm excited for this. I really hope it's a return to form. I hope they don't try anything too crazy with it, and I hope it's more, this is Ocarina of Time. This is what we kind of remember.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same exact boat. I hope the world for this. I don't want to see it be a Breath of the Wild. I want to see it be what it is. I mean, I'm hopeful because Link's Awakening remake was just Link's Awakening. And Link Between Worlds was just the same scope as Link to the Past. So I'm hoping they can keep that same mindset and not try to reimagine it in this new style and this new world, because it's a new world, a new style. It just doesn't fit what Ocarina of Time is.
I didn't play them growing up, but I did try the one that came out with the Switch One, or whatever.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, and like all survival games, it was way too survival heavy for me. So it was very difficult, and I ended up putting it down permanently.
Yeah, I think we're kind of all in agreement there, for surprisingly.
What do you mean Link's cold? When does Link get cold?
Yeah.
It was a little
like, if he's not too cold, then he's too hungry, and if he's not either of those things, then my horse is somewhere off getting killed, and then if none of those things are happening, then I didn't build my craft with wheels good enough, and I'm like, why am I having to build a car? This is Zelda.
Yeah, I kind of fully agree
clearly
with that.
You guys did unlock the motorcycle if you complete every single shrine, all 8 billion shrines, and fight the super boss.
You're right, I didn't.
And have enough weapon stockpile to actually fight the super boss. Motorcycle.
Yes. The skull motorcycle, the bone one.
It was the horse.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was the horse. It was the mechanized horse, which you get as a car in Mario Kart 8.
I don't remember. I thought for some reason it was like a skull motorcycle. No.
No, it was a motorcycle horse, and it was, you know, the worst part is it wasn't even faster than the best horse in the game that you can get.
Nice.
I
Beautiful.
was like, okay, I did all this grinding for this. All right, thanks, Eiji Naonuma, whatever.
Beautiful. Well, that's kind of all the topics I had on the list today. So I think we can end here. You know, long little talk here that now I get to go try to cut down here and there.
Yeah, it was definitely a long one, but it was a very heavy week with announcements and stuff, and we didn't even go over everything. There's plenty of stuff
Perfect GameYAP.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect amount of stuff.
Yeah, no, there was still a
Way
lot
more, but
It was good.
these were the important ones.
Exactly. There was definitely we could have, you know, talked another 2 hours about everything there. But yeah, I think we kind of covered the major ones. Maybe missed a couple here and there, but we can talk about those, you know, down the road when they get closer. Absolutely.
Definitely. Since we're ending it, you know, well, do we want to say where we can find everybody?
Sure. I am
where can we find? Oh yeah, we can find you, Betrigan.
Well, you know, Kirby, do you want to go first? Kirby, do you want to say anything before we are done here?
No, just
Okay.
I'm available on Twitter at TheKirbyParty. And that's it.
Oh, that's it. No Twitch. You over on Twitch too?
I do have a Twitch as well under the same name, but you know.
Cerventes.
That's just.
Yeah, I'm Cerventes. You can find me over on Twitter at @KingCerventes or on Twitch at twitch.tv/Cerventes. I also put guides for Marvel Rivals and random yapping segments on YouTube, but that's all over on the Twitch and the Twitter.
Absolutely.
Where can we find Betrigan?
Everywhere. I'm everywhere. No, whatever social you want to look me up, you know, search Betrigan. We'll have some kind of link somewhere for this, but yeah, absolutely. Find us on our separate channels, and we will be here and talking again here soon about news throughout the week. So this was a longer episode than other ones. Should be shorter. This was a lot to cover because of all the showcases, and we're kind of starting off for the first time. But you know, we're kind of past that news cycle. It should be a little more condensed going forward. So
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys. It was fun yapping.
Yay!
Yeah, we did it. We game yapped.
We game yapped. We yapped about games.
GameYAP.